At just the age of 13, after training with former water pillar Urokodaki alongside Sabito, Giyu Tomioka entered final selection. Despite being more than underwhelming in this 7-day period, being critically injured, he survived and passed, but more importantly, it left him scarred that he lost a comrade, and it made him feel unworthy to bear the title of the water pillar. Before I start the video officially, I want to shout out my nephew TG, ThunderGod, for giving me the idea for this type of video. I'm eating this entire video style and idea off of him, so go watch his Naruto videos if you want to speed up the process of GTA 6. Recounting these events is what helped Giyu understand that his life was a gift from Sabito, and before that, his life was a gift from his older sister. Despite these things haunting him for the better part of his life, he seems to control his hatred for demons to keep himself pushing forward. As he tells the audience in chapter 1, this is what he thinks can drive Tanjiro to become strong. You can easily infer this is also a reflection of Giyu's thoughts on his approach to killing all demons and what actually fuels him ever since his fateful survival of final selection, and even his master, Urokodaki, seems to bear these same feelings as he thinks Tanjiro is weak-spirited because he doesn't have anger. Sometime after this, he and Shinobu, the newest Hashira in the Demon Slayer Corps, went on to help a young hunter by the name of Yae search for a demon that attacked her father. Giyu kind of awkwardly starts touching her possessions and her shoulder, and also has a sword on his hip, so he gets immediately arrested because he doesn't know how to explain the situation properly. After aura farming on the police, he and Shinobu follow Yae to a local pharmacy to find out some more information about the demon that attacked Yae's father, that she keeps insisting isn't a demon and is actually just a bear. Well, it turns out she was lying, and it was a demon, and it turned her father into a demon too. And this all unfortunately leads to a very good boy getting unalived, all just so she could build the conviction to accept this fact. And now she has to kill her demonic father. She seems to red rum him completely until she finds out that bullets don't work on demons, what a shocker, and Giyu and Shinobu come to save the day. Giyu backshots the demon immediately with his water-breathing 4th form Striking Tide, an ability that might just have the highest overall power output of Giyu's attacks, as Fanbook 1 highlights the cutting power of it, stating the following: even if it is a demon with a hardened body, it is cut down as though it were something soft and easily sliced. Water breathing has some good contenders in terms of its highest potency attack, but I'm gonna get to those a bit later. A year or more down the line, Giyu and Shinobu are tasked with going to Mount Nagumo to find out about the demon presence that's active there. Tanjiro and his boys are getting packed up by Rui and the gang, and Giyu comes in just in time to destroy the Spider Father, who low-key is kinda underrated in terms of power, completely annihilating Inosuke and convincing Tanjiro from power alone that he's a lower moon himself. But this level is simply nothing compared to Giyu, and with one breathing form he puts down the Spider Father pretty effortlessly, and then eventually comes into contact with the lower moon demon Rui after Tanjiro has an intense life or death battle with him. Rui being a demon that is lower 5 in name, but has lower moon 1 or 2 levels of power according to Fanbook 2, he just doesn't really care about rank. Giyu easily chops down Rui without even using a breathing form, but the more relevant thing here is Giyu's use of Dead Calm that eradicates all of Rui's blood demon art before he takes his head. This is Giyu's custom form that he made all by himself, and Fanbook 1 goes as far as saying that all demon techniques that enter into its range are completely stilled and nullified, which is pretty insane if this isn't hyperbolic. And something I want to note specifically about Dead Calm, as we know from later on, is that it's extremely fast, even extremely fast in relation to other water forms by Giyu. We are shown the immense speed of this form when Giyu is exhausted and about to get the Rengoku treatment from Akaza, and he's completely unable to react. But what seems like only seconds later when Akaza uses a much faster attack, in fact his fastest and strongest form, Chaotic Silver Afterglow, Giyu is then able to react and block a lot of the incoming damage with Dead Calm. This leads me to personally believe this is his fastest ability, potentially only being rivaled by Drop Ripple Thrust, which is noted in Fanbook 1 to be a thrusting technique that boasts the greatest speed within the forms of water breathing. However, I think this is just in relation to water breathing standard 10 forms, and Giyu's Dead Calm or 11th form is kind of a separate thing that's not really included in that. After Giyu beheads Rui, he subdues Shinobu off screen, putting her in a headlock, which to me implies he's physically more powerful than Shinobu. Actually just outright shows it, honestly. And it likely means he's faster, or at the very least relative in speed in this scene. That is, if you do take it seriously. Maybe you think Giyu's holding back, or Shinobu, or maybe both parties. We don't really see Giyu do too much after this until the final arcs of the series. We do see him cameo at some Hashira meetings, but we really don't see him in action again until he spars Sanemi at the back end of the Hashira training. This is where it's noted in Fanbook 2 of Demon Slayer that the two parties were so evenly matched in this spar that they broke each other's wooden swords. It is questionable if both parties were at full capacity here, as Giyu sort of implies to Tanjiro after the spar that they weren't really fighting, it was simply just sparring, but I think it's also pretty fair to say that they would want to push each other for the final battles that's forthcoming. So it's sort of up to the audience to gauge whether or not you take this seriously. We finally get to see Giyu in the Infinity Castle and the limits of his true power as he helps Tanjiro take on Akaza, Upper Moon 3. We see he initially holds his own against a suppressed Akaza, constantly going band for band with his attacks, and more impressively, completely stopping Disorder in its tracks, an attack that previously Rengoku cut through, and despite that still caused him to lose his eyesight, bloodied him, and broke his ribs. Giyu also pretty impressively intercepts a bloodlusted Akaza strike on Tanjiro with his second form Water Wheel, and we know Akaza is extremely determined to kill Tanjiro, as he tells the audience as much after the events of Mugen Train, destroying a tree out of pure rage, claiming he's gonna put Tanjiro on a shirt. Water Wheel isn't specifically highlighted to be extremely fast or anything, so this leads me to believe that generally most of his water forms could outspeed or outpace a serious Akaza strike. After this, Giyu pretty infamously gets kicked through a wall by a barrage of kicks by Akaza, and returns to us after a few chapters to give us a monologue about him unlocking his mark. Giyu tells us for the first time in a long time, while up against a strong opponent who can overwhelm him, his senses have been sharply honed in a short time. Senses that were closed off to him before have been awakened and dragged out. Right after this, we get the iconic Giyu marked panel, and to give a little bit of an explanation of what Giyu's talking about here and why we see an x-ray of his brain and blood vessels and muscles, it's simply because the mark is only achieved when you have a high level of total concentration breathing. Total concentration breathing increases your blood flow and body temperature, which is exactly what Mitsuri and Muichiro do to achieve their marks in the Swordsmith Village arc. In fact, Mitsuri is just doing this verbatim and doesn't even know the mark appears on her until after the battle. This is also supported for the explanation for achieving the mark in the Hashira training, prelude. So basically all Giyu's saying is it's been a long time since he's been challenged like this, and it allowed him to level up his total concentration breathing pretty much mid-battle and allowed him to unlock the Demon Slayer mark. Giyu goes on to show us that he's pretty relative with a now full power Compass Akaza, as they exchange blows and take mutual damage on multiple different occasions. We also get to see one of Giyu's more unique water breathing forms, 10th form Constant Flux, which is another contender for the strongest overall water breathing technique in terms of just pure power. This ability requires the user to revolve around continuously, so I'd imagine it's a good technique to counter long strings of attacks, and Fanbook 2 tells us about its power output, saying the Water Hashira grows stronger each time he revolves in this sword maneuver involving repeated strikes. Mark Giyu's battle with Akaza comes to a close as he's pretty much exhausted after fighting him a lot off screen while Tanjiro was just lollygagging. TLDR, Akaza punches himself and then Tanjiro and Giyu rest up to go fight Muzan himself. Giyu shows that he's capable of reacting to opponents that are faster than Akaza's baseline punches with his dead calm at a brief distance away. It's a bit weird about the speed of this Muzan. We know he's faster than a baseline Akaza strike, as Tanjiro was able to smell that, and he's not able to smell Muzan's attacks. So these whips are indeed faster than baseline Akaza attacks, but we really don't know if they would be faster than any of Akaza's blood demon arts, especially things like Afterglow or Annihilation, but we really can't pinpoint it anywhere. After this, the Infinity Castle starts spazzing out and sending everyone into traps, but both OpenEye and Giyu are able to avoid the castle pretty much collapsing on itself, and attack Muzan when he's telepathically communicating with Nagumo. Despite Muzan being off guard here and responding late, Giyu is able to defend himself from Muzan trying to attack both him and Obanai, and that's really the last thing that happens before the castle just blows up. Starting in the sunrise countdown, we see the final water-breathing form I want to discuss, 8th form Waterfall Basin. Now, we don't get to see this attack because Obanai beheads Muzan, causing Giyu and Mitsuri to cancel their forms, but the fanbook does note what it actually does. It states that Giyu raises his sword high with all his might, and Tomioka's incredible jumps and arm strength give the blow immense force like a massive waterfall. We get a few more things out of this fight pre-13th form Tanjiro from Giyu. He does a coordinated clash with Sanemi to get the red blade, and the fact that he's pretty proficient when fighting with a completely broken sword, and also shows some pretty impressive poison resistance, being able to mostly fight off Muzan's cell-destroying poison, as all the Hashira are here, which is all pretty impressive stuff. Because this poison literally destroys your cells, presumably weaker poisons like Gyutaro and Gyoko's may not even be effective on Giyu at this point. However, that is just speculation by me, but it would make sense since Muichiro did relay the information about using breathing to slow down an upper rank's poison, so maybe they're just really good at halting the effects of poisons with their total concentration breathing now. The final thing he does before Tanjiro shows up is him and Gyome protecting Inosuke from serious harm from Muzan's ground pound attack that happens off screen, the one that takes out all the Hashira, and this unfortunately does cost Giyu his arm, but despite this, he's still pretty impressive in the final parts of the Muzan battle, combining his one-arm grip with Tanjiro to generate a red blade after unironically dropping bookshelves on a giant baby and crashing cars into him. Gyome, Giyu, Sanemi, and Obanai put the finishing touches on Muzan before he seemingly burns up in the sun once and for all. Somehow, after the quote-unquote defeat of Muzan when everyone has croaked over from injuries, blood loss, or fatigue, Giyu still continues to fight when, spoiler alert, Tanjiro is turned into a demon, so there's a plot explanation on why he doesn't look like Two-Face in the final chapters. Giyu is able to fend off evil Tanjiro, and with a bit of help from the other friends, Kano puts the final nail in the coffin for Tanjiro. I do want to comment, it's pretty impressive that Giyu can still just actively use his water forms with one arm here, and he's consistently shown proficient when he has very specific nerfs. When he has a broken sword, he can block a lot of the damage from Akaza's final form, his strongest form. He's able to fight while poisoned by Muzan with poison that targets and destroys his cells. He's proficient enough to fight with one arm, and he does all these things back to back to back. Ultimately, it was only Giyu and Sanemi who survived the Sunrise Countdown and are the last remaining active Hashira before the Demon Slayer Corps is finally put to rest. Giyu is an extremely powerful Hashira that is massively stronger than lower moon demons and even some of the weaker upper rank demons, and while marked, he's even stronger than that rivaling Compass Akaza in both speed and power, with reaction speeds that should just outright surpass these levels. And if he could have just manifested the red blade at this time when he was fighting Akaza, he likely could have even defeated him. He simply just lacked the knowledge on how to obtain it at the time. He's able to fight through tons of injuries, has crazy endurance, poison resistance, able to fight with one arm, created a very specialized dead calm technique that's stated to nullify all demon techniques. So overall, I would say Giyu is one tough dude.